Welcome to the weekly webinar at FX Street. I'm Rob Booker. I'm not as smart or good looking as Ed Ponzi and didn't write a book as good as Ed Ponzi, and it's really hard to follow up with after Ed Ponzi, but I'm going to do my best, and we're going to take a look at some serious stuff this morning. I mean, really, really serious stuff. We're going to try to be as serious as possible because I know that's exactly what you want. There's a bunch of charts that look really good that have a variety of excellent, super awesome, brilliant, massively cool, unbelievably, historically magnificent opportunities. But actually none of them are in the currency market. No. So I'm just kidding. What we're going to do here is I'm going to get rid of some of the crap on my charts here, and we're looking at the 5-minute euro yen chart that has been rising up like a rocket ship all morning long. All morning. And what we're doing right now is this is the 5-minute chart, and I think actually this may be one of the best opportunities that we have. And I don't want you to tell too many people because it's kind of a secret how awesome this is going to be. And I want you to be careful about who you tell here. You tell the wrong person, next thing you know, the whole world finds out, and then everybody's trading the same thing we are, and then everybody finds out what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, actually, this is perfectly, you can publicly release this information to the press. I love the thought that the euro yen is going to fall back down to this green baseline on the 5-minute chart. I absolutely love it. If this trend line were a woman, I would marry it. That is absolutely, positively the case. Now, I don't know how many people here agree with me on this, and maybe the euro dollar is going to go up, and maybe that's what's going to happen next, but I am telling you, Dr. Goldstein is in the house, and Dr. Goldstein, I'm just saying Goldstein because the word gold is in it, wants to sell it below this blue trend line right here. Oh, I just made the line thinner instead of thicker. Oops. There we go. I love a sell trade to start things off on the euro-yen 5-minute chart, a sell below that 5-minute trend line with a profit target of the green baseline. There's a black dashed line in the middle of the chart right now, and that's the 800 simple moving average. That's our mostest favoritist moving average on planet Earth. That's the Earth. That's the planet you're on right now. Well, at least most of you. And I love that 800 simple moving average. I love that the green baseline that we've just drawn, that's the base trend line. It's the profit target trend line. It's the home base trend line. It's where we want to go. It's where we were. It's where we want to be again. It's where we're going to be in the future. It's what it is. It's what it was. It's what it shall be. And that's where is we be going. And I want to get there today. I think that this currency pair can make it back down to that level today. It's only approximately 100 points lower from where we are right now. Chris McLaughlin reminds us that the 15-minute euro-dollar chart that we were looking at earlier today did find its way all the way up to the 800 simple moving average. And what I thought I might do is take a look at that and show you that this morning in chart school, we were looking at this rising up to the 800 simple moving average. And we didn't draw this trend line during chart school this morning because we're not in chart school all night long. But it's the same concept in reverse. This is a 15-minute euro-dollar chart. And you'll see that it broke above the trend line, returned to the 800 simple moving average, made a lot of people happy. A lot of people were crying when it got to the 800 simple moving average. It was like a trip home, and they were all, weepy about it and whatever else, and blah, blah, blah. And let's just shut up about that, and let's move on to another currency pair because we don't really care about the trade that already happened. We care about the trades that are going to happen. And I just absolutely appreciate Mystic FX because he's letting us know that some of the trades that we're interested in are opening. This is the 1-minute British pound Japanese yen chart, and you can see the 800 simple moving average is down here. You can see that we're on the 1 minute chart, but we're going to switch to the 5 minute chart, and we're going to draw a level of support on this currency pair, and we're going to do the same stuff on the British pound Japanese yen that we just did on the euro yen. Why? Because we love each other, and that's what we do for each other. That's the kind of stuff that currency traders are meant to do for each other. And you can see that the British pound Japanese yen is falling. And where is we going to get in? Is you or is you not going to be my baby? Says the British pound Japanese yen. And this is how we find out if it is or if it is not going to be your baby. Or your, I'm not going to use a more vulgar phrase. Let's go ahead here and draw these trend lines. This is a 5 minute chart, but we're going to go back down to the 1 minute chart. Why are we going to go back down to the 1 minute chart? Because the 1 minute chart is where we want to focus right now. We got our trend lines drawn. We know that the green baseline might be a profit target. It might be a place that we can get back to. And if it does, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be like the most awesome thing that we've ever done during this webinar of all time. You can see here that on the 1 minute chart, we've got a blue trend line below the currency pair where it's traded right now. Now, some of my friends, some of my good friends, some of my best friends, some of the friends that I've had since friends were invented, Chris McLaughlin and Lucas Wasserback, they are looking at this chart too, and they actually already entered this trade. It's a pound yen 1 minute chart. They may already be in this trade. If you're not, you might consider getting into this trade below the blue trend line, trading towards this 800 simple moving average. But why do we have this green baseline here? Because it doesn't have to stop at the 800, but it does eventually have to get to the 800. If it gets to the 800, we could move the stop loss on this trade to break even and then ride it to the green baseline. Well, that begs the question, where is the stop loss to start with? Well, here's a good place. Here's a good place, Mr. Stop loss obsessive compulsive person. And there it is. There would be the stop loss above 150.15. That would be pretty much excelente. Lucas missed the entry on this one, so maybe there's an alternative entry here, Lucas, that you could take that's alternative, which means the other one that you could take on this and still make tons of pips, be happy, and Lucas asks, what's a stop loss? Is that one of those West Coast things? Well, you make a really good point, Lucas. What is a stop loss if it's not something from the West Coast? Maybe later on in the webinar, if everybody's up for it, we should look at some of my favorite things from the West Coast. That might be something definitely worth taking a look at. I want to next take a look, even though it means that we're going to be looking at the same currencies pairs like over and over and over again. Okay, the euro yen you missed. That's cool. The pound dollar just shot up like a rocket, and that's the 1 minute chart right there. I'm going to look at the 5 minute chart. I'm going to see if there's anything on the pound dollar that approximates or looks like what we were just kind of planning on doing on the other pairs. And boy, is there ever. Here we are. I make the color of this trend line green. I'm going to make it weighted strong weight, strong trend line. And it's sovereign. It's a sovereign trend line because it's sovereign. And I believe in its sovereignty. And I believe that this currency pair can get back down to not only the 800, but down to this baseline that we've drawn. And how are we going to get there? What are we going to be doing? And why are all these sell trades? Why aren't we doing any buy trades? Huh? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. I slept really well last night, as you can tell. There you have it. This is the 5 minute pound dollar chart. And if you're interested in selling the pound dollar, below that blue trend line, you could take a sell trade down to the green baseline. You could move your stop loss to break even at the green baseline and trade all the way to the 800 simple moving average. But that's only if you want to. I don't want you to do anything that you don't want to do. I don't want to pressure you into anything. These are not, as one of my friends in the business says, I'm not giving trade advice. I don't know why I'm doing a webinar if I'm not doing that. However, I'm definitely not giving trade advice. Look at all these people going to school. Is that a new jacket thing? Old. It's awesome. Please hold for an intermission while I say goodbye to some of the coolest people ever. Don't forget to get gas for you. I've had gas all night, so I don't need any. So, just enjoy this chart for just a moment while the pound dollar just screams upward like a million miles an hour. And if you want to sell this, I would certainly wait for it to go below that trend line. I don't know exactly what just came out or what just happened or what economic report was released, the Wisconsin Cheese Index or the Washington Apple Index or whatever. And I like this chart. By the way, I've not been writing in one single trade that we planned at all. I haven't been writing down one thing here. So I usually keep track of the trades that we're going to take, but I haven't done that. Lucas, on that note, I came home from Barcelona with about 600 euros, and they appreciated from last year to this year, but now I'm afraid that holding on to them is going to be a mistake for the next coming year, and it kind of disappoints me and makes me sad. So the ISM PMS manufacturing came out. And I think that was an angry report, or at least really frustrated. Once a month, the IMS PMS non-manufacturing report comes out. And I tell you what, that thing is moody. You don't know what it's going to do next. It's totally finicky, and you can't make it happy. And the next thing you know, it's causing all these currencies to go out of whack. So I would sell the pound dollar below the 1 minute chart. You are so beautiful. Not you. I meant her. Anyway, the point is that the pound dollar needs to come down, and it needs to come down soon. And I'm going to circulate a petition exactly for that. Okay, we need to look at another currency pair because this is getting out of hand. Why don't we look at something that might go up? Why don't we look at the New Zealand dollar? New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Do you guys remember when I used to keep track of all these, and then next week we could look at where they went? Well, guess that's over because I haven't been writing these down today. All right, this is the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Chris, I don't know what you think about this one, but me like you this one. The 15-minute New Zealand dollar, US dollar. I don't know how long that's been away from the 800 simple moving average. It's reasonably easy for me to find that out, so I'm going to go ahead and do that work. I think it's been a while that this has been away from the 800 simple moving average. And, from last week's webinar that we didn't record, that I do like the 800 simple moving average. I'm actually kind of in love with it. And I want to trade things back up to the 800 simple moving average. Unless you think that I'm just completely dedicated to sell trades and I can never take buy trades and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I can take it. Lucas says, I like the entry, but I missed my first planned entry, which I did as well, Lucas, and I need to stop sleeping too. Mystic doesn't keep a chart on it. I don't think that's the worst thing ever. Here we go. If I were to trade the New Zealand dollar, US dollar, here would be my entry. Would be above this blue resistance level. And my stop loss would be back down below these lows in this area right here. And the profit target would be the 800 simple moving average. There you have an additional trend line that we could use, which lines up perfectly with the 4-hour 800 simple moving average. And if it breaks above that blue level at 1.0870, I think we're going to make it up to the 800 simple moving average on the 4-hour chart, which does line up fairly well with this trend line, this green baseline trend line on the 4-hour chart. Jesus Ricardo ES says it seems more like bearish, and you're absolutely right. Right now it does. Right now it does. I think that the dollar Canadian is due for a correction back upwards, and that's just my opinion. It doesn't have to happen, and totally understand if you disagree with me. It's not a problem. One of my favorite people in the whole world is AB David, and AB, I'd be happy to look at dollar Swiss. AB, are you long or short on this pair? And if you are, we could start from the perspective of what you're working on. And I'd love to talk about the dollar Swiss if you've got something going on. Let's take a moment here. AB's not answering, so we'll just wait. I'm long from the long-term trendline break, then it tanked, so he's scared. All right. No need to be scared. We're all here together. Look at it from the 15-minute chart perspective, maybe. BR Monitor says he's also long on U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. I love that trade. And then we should look at the Thai baht against the Mexican peso. There are few things that I think are more important than looking at that. If I load this right here, can you see this chart, this MetaTrader chart? Are you able to see it, or is it not visible? Because if it's visible, then I'd like to just look at the MetaTrader chart, because it doesn't seem like I'm able to see waiting, it says. Yeah, okay. Can't see the MetaTrader chart. I'm going to switch over, and we're going to look at the MetaTrader chart, if you don't mind. Here we go. It's going to take me a moment. You should be able to see my dollar Swiss chart right now. And I know that it changes the parameters of the screen, but for some reason TradeStation wasn't loading the chart, and I just didn't want to wait any longer and waste our time. Although, actually, I do enjoy wasting your time. I don't enjoy wasting my time, so I wanted to hurry up. This is the dollar Swiss. It's the 4-hour chart, and AB is long this pair when it broke above the 200 simple moving average and a trend line, which we don't need to look at because that trend line is over. But what we do need to do is redraw a trend line right here, AB. And there's a couple things that I want to look at and focus on. And you should be able to see my dollar Swiss. This is the dollar Swiss. You can see that there are some moving averages on this chart. And there's something that's called a radar screen. Here's the deal. The dollar Swiss has been away from the 800 simple moving average for 814 bars, and Lucas will switch over to the dollar Canadian right when that comes out. That means that it's been overextended, AB, on this 4-hour chart and does need a trip back to the 800. A couple things. I think that if we break above this blue trend line, AB, it would be a nice place to re-enter and add to the position. I think if it goes much farther below this level right here, it's a bad trade. I think that if we go down to a 5-minute chart, maybe, we could actually plan a support and a resistance trade possibly up towards that level. That is the steepest trend line of all time and no good at all. But you get my drift, AB. If we kind of even out here and create a trend line setup, we could have something that really looks good to buy the dollar Swiss based on that 4-hour extension. Here's the 5-minute U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar. If it breaks and closes above the 200 simple moving average, that might be an interesting trade for those of you that trade the news or trade oil or trade crack or whatever. You could look at a trend line break above this trend line right here, and maybe we could soften up this trend line color. It's just too dark blue. There we go. I like that much better. And a bunch of really interesting thoughts come in. Sandra says, your petition seems to have been successful. Cable is dropping. So euro dollar, dollar Swiss, and dollar CAD 4-hour all pivot, all point to U.S. dollar strength. That is, I agree with that, actually. Pound dollar. What time frame chart did we look at on the pound dollar today? I can't remember what time frame we looked at. I have like short-term memory loss. Is that all right with everybody? I mean, seriously, what the crap? We looked at the 5-minute and the 1-minute. All right, well, let's look over the pound dollar again, just real quickly. Did it really start falling? Oh, it did. Yeah. Well, whatever. The thing's just bouncing all around back and forth. Yeah. Piece of garbage. 5-minute chart here. Looks like the oil inventories report, which is the most thrilling report of all time, has come out. And I cannot explain to you how awesome it is that that report came out and how thrilled we all are for all the people that have oil in the world. You know, God bless them. Any last questions? I'd like to open up to talk about questions and whatnot. And I also wanted to spend a moment with you this morning and tell you a little bit about a book I'm just starting to read. And I don't often anymore recommend books because I know some of you don't know how to read, and just like I don't. Let's see here. Amazon. Why is it? Oh, I got to do this. Here, hold on. Let's go here. Amazon.com. I know everybody here knows how to read. I don't know what kind of comment that was. I'm sorry. Greatest trade ever. This book was just released yesterday. It's a book by Gregory Zuckerman, who's the Heard on the Street columnist from the Wall Street Journal. And this is the story of John Paulson of Paulson and Company, who made $15 billion betting against mortgages last year, and personally took home $4 billion. And I'm a counter trend trader. It's what I do. I don't trade with the trend. I hate trend trading, and I hate it with all of my heart. I hate it so bad I can't stand it. And this is the book right here at Amazon.com, The Greatest Trade Ever. And it is the story of how he bucked the trend, went against the trend, and you might think it was obviously the case that he should have sold all those mortgage-backed securities and whatever else. It might seem obvious now, but it wasn't obvious then. And he took a lot of heat as a counter-trend trader, and it is a fascinating story. I sat up last night and I read this, I had nothing better to do. I was so constipated. It was just unbelievable. So I read this book, and I've just been terribly impressed with his ability, John Paulson's, to buck the trend, to do what nobody else thought was really reasonable. And it's so funny, Mystic. And there you have it. That's a book I'm reading. And if you want to read it together, we could talk about it next week in the webinar. Yeah, I know, Chris. I've been saying that joke for years. Everybody, it has been an absolute joy to spend time with you today. I love being here at FX Street together with you. I love spending time discussing the currency markets, and I love your participation. And I'm so grateful for the time we spend together. If you want more of this, this webinar has been recorded, and the folks at FX Street will actually put it up on their website. And if you want more of this, you can also come to robbooker.com/postcards, and I post trades, videos, webinars, and whatever else at that link as well. Maud mentions that they have recorded the webinar today, and it will be in the archives. And thanks for being here, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Have the best day ever, and be careful. Bye, Sunshine. Bye, Thomas. Bye, Damien. Bye, Dave Tarver. Bye, Lucas. Bye, Chris. Bye, AB. Goodbye, everyone.